Good day all, it is 2:11 on what they tell us is the 22nd of the 1st, 2025. And I've been meaning to say this for a while. If you've ever watched the film They Live, that came out in 1988, I think it was, the John Carpenter film starring Roddy Piper, former American wrestler, 2025, they told you in that film, back then in the 80s, is the year. Go and look it up. You can find the film They Live on YouTube, I think. And talking about YouTube, if you're listening to this, you might have missed a couple because YouTube put me on a ban or whatever. So there's a link in the description box to my main Bitchute channel for anybody listening, where all my work is, and you'll find those that you've missed there, should you wish to go and look at them. But anyway, this is the Self-Preservation Society on Bazzzilll, Broadcasting Truth and Therapy, BBTT, and here I am using the talking stick. And before I go any further, I want to say some of the best news I've heard over the last few days is that Leonard Peltier has been released. And if you don't know who Leonard Peltier is, Peltier, go and look him up. He is to the indigenous peoples of what we call America, the native people, what Nelson Mandela was to the African people. And go and look him up and his story. A member of the American Indian movement that was jailed 50 years ago for standing up for the rights of his people. I'm over. Go and look at that story if you've never heard of Leonard Peltier. But anyway, onward and forward. Look at that. The Pfizer PDF says 50% got a placebo. Those of you saying you took it and you're fine, now you know why. Now you know why. Make the Nuremberg Code great again. What you've got to remember about the Nuremberg Code, people, is that your masters, your controllers, created that in order to placate you. And it works. It's their court. It's not your court, it's their court. But if you don't know about the Nuremberg trials post-Second World War, go and have a look at them. And look at a few token Nazis that were tried there. And most of them used the defence, we were just following orders. And they were told, that is no defence. That is no defence. Common law courts are the way. We had a beautiful system here in the UK based upon the Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights, this, that, and the common law courts, and where you were tried by 12 members of the jury, of your peers, this, that, and the other. And, you know, they had to reach a decision that all 12 agreed on. Not anymore. I think Tony Blair sorted that out, this, that, and the other. And in their courts, we need to get back to the common law courts. And you need to understand what the common law courts are. And as I've said before, many times, if that was to be the case, and these bastards that control us, dominate us, keep us in fear, compliance and ignorance, were brought to a common law court, found guilty, I am more than willing to take on the karmic debt of being the Albert Pierpoint of our day. And for those of you that don't know who Albert Pierpoint was, he was the last British hangman. I think one of the last people he hung was Ruth Ellis. Go and look him up. Again, think for yourself, research for yourself, Whatever I say here, believe nothing, discount nothing, but remember everything. Because I wouldn't do you a wrong'un, people. I'm not here to do you a wrong'un. I'm here to help you wake up, rub the sleep from your eyes. I'm here to help you try to work through your shadows, your demons, and whatever, to conquer them. And to bring you into light, your own light. Because you are, like me, Lucifer. You are the light, L-U-C-I, and you are the way, F-E-R. And if you don't have an understanding, a comprehension of that, then you're under a demonic, potentially demonic, but you're certainly under spiritual possession. I don't care who you are. It just does not matter to me who you are. If you are not standing in your own light, in awareness, then you're under a spiritual possession. Whether you're aware of that or not is by the by. But it's the truth. It's the truth, the universal truth. Castaneda called it the predator mind, and you're controlled by your mind, that which come from outside, and it's not your mind actually, that which come from outside the universe. Castaneda called it the predator mind. I call it the predator mind. I call it spirit. Spirit is not real. The spiritual aspect of you is not real. It is a corruption and bastardization of that which you truly are. Soul, source consciousness, the I am. In the same way that your soul has been corrupted for you to live a spiritual and material life in fear and ignorance of your true self, the soul, that replicates. And as I've intimated, the court system has been corrupted and bastardized in order to serve an agenda that doesn't serve you. Look at this, the serpent. You know what a snake does? A snake sheds its skin because it's growing. In the same way, a butterfly, a caterpillar sheds its old self, goes through a tremendous form of transmutation in order to become the butterfly. Don't be in fear of the serpent. Be in fear of what the serpent does, but do not be in fear of the serpent. Don't, go with the thinking of the masses that have been dominated over millennia, over many incarnations, in order to bring about the mindset that controls just about everybody. Seek to transcend that. The mind is not yours. It's part of the spirit, just the same as the ego is part of the spirit. Ego in the physical self, ego in the spiritual self. It's exactly the same thing. Unless you transcend it and become consciously aware to the true self, which has no gender. You're just experiencing an incarnation, male or female, black, white, yellow, red, gay, straight, whatever, to keep you in fear, ignorance, compliance and apathy, and to keep you unaware of what that you truly are. Anyway, so many still bow at the altars of their masters. You must have seen the picture of Elon Musk, and I posted it in a couple of truther groups because they show themselves for what they are. The little hand signals that you get a close-up of and everything else. Look, that's right in your face. Right? That's right in your face. And yet, if you show somebody this, as I did in a couple of groups on Facebook, truther groups, you should have seen the people going to defend him. going to defend him, Elon. They think, I said to a couple of different ones that attacked me for it and said it means something else. You know, he took his hand from his heart. He ain't got a fucking heart. Not in the way that you would perceive that he'd have a heart. Care, empathy, love. He wants to put a chip in your brain. I said to one person, I'm sorry if I've committed blasphemy against your God. I said to another person, sorry if I've committed heresy against your God. This, that and the other. They're supposed to be awake, these people. They're in these groups, these truther groups. And yet, but then again, are they really people? So I just block them. You know, I'll have my little say. And one of the most productive things I do on the internet, the most productive things I do is blocking. Whether it be adverts or whatever, or people, so-called people, and whatever. If they continue to show me these people, these profiles, that we're not of the same mind, then eventually I'll block them and do away with them. I don't need that energy around me. I'm all about, and I say this in its purest form, love and light, because I care. That's why I do what I do. That man there on the right, Elon Musk, changes letters of his name round, Noel Scum, and you know, have a bit of fun doing that. He wants to put a chip in your brain, and that was another retort I give to some people. Perhaps you've already had the chip. I don't know. That bloke, how many satellites has he helped get up there? What they tell us are satellites. Can you not see the correlation between that and the Jews, the directed energy weapons that people in California have just been subject to, and other places, and the weather modification, this and that. It's not just in planes and whatever. The world at war. The world is at war. It's not just Palestine. It's not just Syria, Lebanon, this, that and the other. The world is at war. The American people are at war with their own government and controllers, this, that and the other. Same here in Britain. Same here in any so-called Western democracy. We are at war with the governments that we vote in. And we are at war with their masters that are not voted in. The Klaus Schwabs of this world, and this, and the Elon Musks, and the Bill Gates, this, that and the other. We're all at war. And many of you do not see it, don't want to comprehend it. Head in the sand, arse in the air. And while you're doing that, they're putting the proverbial fuck into you. And they are putting the proverbial fuck into you. You might be using your profile, your voice, to call out those that would cause harm, loss or injury to children. You know, this transgender movement and everything else. But they're putting a fuck into you. I don't care who you are. I don't consider myself fully awakened to all that is going on. It's a journey that I'm on, and more stuff comes to me all the time. I don't profess to know it all. But I know all can be and should be known and become aware of. Faith, hope and belief that somebody else is going to do it for you. Not me. Faith, hope and belief are the three keys to yours, our enslavement. And I have no tuck with them. Knowing the truth will set you free. But first, you've got to take responsibility for freeing the self. You'll never ever get a true grip and I speak from my 40-year journey and what I've gone through and whatever. I'm not blowing smoke up your arse, this, that, and that. I speak from my 40-year journey. That in order to fully understand, comprehend, be aware of what's going on outside of you, first you got to clear the shadows and the demons within the self in order that your light may shine on the darkness outside of you. That's what my life has taught me. That's what my life has taught me, and that's what I seek to share here. Look at that on the right. Look at that. And then look at that on the left. How do you spell science? Like it's written there, or as I spell it? P-S-Y-I-N-C-E. Think, people. Think. Think for yourself. Stop thinking as you're told. Look at that. What a true statement that is. If I woke up Sunday to TikTok being inaccessible on my phone, it would prove one thing. They could stop the child porn if they wanted to. They could stop loads of things if they wanted to. They choose not to. Because it doesn't serve them to do so. Keep you in fear, compliance, ignorance and apathy. On your knees at the altars of these celebrities like Elon Musk and your presidents, this, that and the other, and prime ministers, kings, queens, whatever. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. Take responsibility for your own awareness. Take responsibility for your own words, deeds and actions. Stop listening to truthers who are trying to sell you stuff while they're bringing you the truth. Stop listening to them people. Stop giving them your energy. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Right? Because if we cleanse and purify and see through all the shit at the bottom, right, there's less power going to those at the top and they'll be dead before we get there. Stop listening to mediums, especially if they call themselves spiritual mediums, natural mediums and all that bollocks, trying to ingratiate themselves into you, if they're not telling you the sort of stuff I'm telling you. Because for want of a better expression, don't use this lightly, I'm a medium. A medium is simply a point between 2 points. But I'm not doing what I do here on my channel in order to covet favour with you or to get you to cross my palm with silver. Anybody that's ever walked through my door to benefit from those abilities, gifts, whatever you want to call them, outside the five senses, never has anybody had to incur a charge for me spending time with them. That's me using spiritual gifts and gifting them to people. If anybody tells you they're a spiritual medium, then charge you, challenge them and say, how can you be if they're spiritual gifts and you're charging them? Same with all these fucking psychics, this, that and the other. Most I see, certainly in America, this, that and the other, on the telly and this great YouTube channels, this, that and the other, if they're not telling you, if they're the communicators that come through with them, to them, your loved ones, that prove that they're your loved ones, this, that and the other, your mums, your dads, your brothers, your sisters, nans, granddads, uncles, aunts, this, that and the other, if they're not telling you what's going on here and what you can do about it, then challenge them. Challenge them. Because they're under a spiritual control. Most of them are aware of it because they use it to serve them. They say they work for spirit and they charge. They don't. They work for their self and use spirit for that end. There's a difference. Think about what you're seeing, hearing, listening to, what's being said to you. Think about that. And for those of you that say everybody's got to earn a living, no, you haven't. Nobody has to earn a living unless you are doing exactly what your controllers in the seen and the unseen, the heard and the unheard, are telling you to do. All you have to do in this third dimensional reality is live. And in order to live, you have to have clean air, clean water, good food, and be able to clothe yourself and have shelter. And our ancestors done this by taking from that which was around them. They didn't go... Your ancestors that you were taught about historically, the caveman, this, that and the other, they didn't go digging fucking great holes to get copper and lithium and fuck knows what else out of the ground. They cut down a tree or dug out a cave. They killed an animal, ate its flesh, and used its coat for their clothing. And you can see evidence of those that done that still here now, and how they done it without being greedy, taking more than what they needed. All we ever do, or what we're programmed to do, is to seek to have more than what we need, take more than what we need. And in order to have that, we got to get as much of this man-made thing called money as we can, whatever form it takes. Euros, dollars, pounds, Bitcoin, any form it takes. We got to get as much as that in order that we can buy whatever we want. They only want you buying what you want, people. They don't want you buying what you need in order that you may live on this planet, this realm, whatever you want to call it. They want you buying what you want so you can keep living and keep going back for more. Please, sir, can I have some more? Whatever. It's a brilliant system, and it only works because of our participation in it, our fear, ignorance, compliance and apathy. That's the only reason it works, and most of it is ignorance. There's a lot of compliance, just as I showed you in the Matrix, the bloke who wanted to leave Morpheus and the others because he missed the taste of steak. So many are apathetic. I've witnessed it so much in my life. When I've spoken to people face to face and they've totally and utterly agreed with everything that I've said. And then they come back with something like, well, I'll leave it for the kids to sort out. We're near the end of our life, this, that and the other. Apathy. I don't wish this earth and the way it's run, this world rather, not the earth, this world and the way it's run on my kids and on my grandchildren. I'm here trying to do something about it. Sharing knowledge and information to empower, enlighten and enable you to stand up, not only for yourself, but for your children and your grandchildren and their children yet to come. But no, Elon's nothing wrong with Elon. He pulled his hand from his heart and went like that. And, you know, anyway, the football's on. I'm going back to the football and this, that and the other. For pity's sake, wake up. Rise like lions, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and fucking roar. Because love me or hate me, that's what I'm doing. I'm roaring. On this, my channel, I'm roaring the truth to empower, enlighten and enable you. But many are deaf to it, blind to it, apathetic to it. This, that and the other. It's not easy. It really is not easy being consciously awake in a world where so many are controlled and dominated by their spiritual self. It really isn't easy being awake in this world. But I continue, and I will continue, and I will never stop. And I mean I will never stop. Not just while I'm here, incarnated, imprisoned in this physical form, in this spiritual body aspect of self. I am consciously awakening more and more every day to that which we truly are. And I bring you the knowledge that I have accrued because I want you, not you the man, woman, not you the spirit, but you the true self, the I am, the soul within, to wake up to that which you truly are. And I'll continue, and I'll call out anybody, like Jesus did with the Philistines. I'll call out the hypocrites. I'll call out the money lenders and those that seek to, utilise money for their own nefarious ends. I don't care who you are, whether you're Bill Gates, Elon Musk, truther, psychic, medium, this, that and the other, and anybody in between. If you seek to hold court, dominance and power over another one, then I will shine a light on your shadows. And I'll continue to do it. I don't care if I please you or offend you. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to do as a bloke told us a couple of 1,000 years ago. He said, as I do, you can do also and far greater things. How many of you Christians, call yourself Christians, carry that symbol of torture around in the middle of your chest, that cross, with him on it? How many of you actually know what you're doing? How many of you actually know what you're doing? As I do, you can do also and far greater things. That's how I live my life. To do far greater things. Not for fame or fortune. I don't want to be acknowledged for that. Many of you don't even know what I look like, and it will remain that way because I'm not important. I, the person, the man, the spirit, I'm not important. What is important is that which I am. And it is through that and my continued growing awareness of it that I bring you these messages on this channel. Wherever you're listening, on this channel. I do it because I care. Ultimately, because I care. And because I care, then I also love. I do it because I've got the power to do it. I don't have a tele-vision here. How many mediums have ever told you? How many people in spiritualism or whatever that talk about their spiritual gifts have ever told you that John Logie Baird, when he developed what we call the television, used a thing called a spirit tube in it that had been developed by Sir Oliver Lodge 30 years previous. How many of your so-called mediums that you say, oh, I think you're wonderful, you're lovely, bring you knowledge and information like that? Off their own back. No need to be guided. You know, oh my God said this. How many of your so-called spiritual mediums have actually studied spiritualism and whatever? Because that's where I found out about Sir Oliver Lodge and the link between him and John Logie Baird when I read books on spiritualism. 40 odd years ago I started doing that. So Oliver Lodge, look him up. And as I've told you many times before, Sir William Crookes. But look up Sir Oliver Lodge. I'm sure it was him. It might have been Crookes, so I apologise if I'll get the two mixed up. But he developed a thing called the spirit tube in order that he could talk with those that weren't here in the third dimensional reality, that have been here and passed on. And John Logie Baird took that spirit tube 30 years later and used it as a component of the television. How many of your medium friends have told you that? They don't fucking know. They don't know. Because they're not interested. All they're interested in is your money and your attention and you telling them how fucking wonderful they are. You know, and without shadow of a doubt, there are some wonderful mediums out there. Psychics, and there's some wonderful truthers out there. I've had some brilliant messages from spiritual mediums, people that call themselves spiritual mediums. And I always thought that was wonderful. Till I we've realised the real lies, then they're not that spiritual after all. They're charging you. They're not gifting you like I've done for 40 years and stand here, or sit here actually, I'm on the sofa, but I sit here and tell the tale of that. The universe has always provided for my needs. Test the spirits to see if they are of good. Because if they're after your money, they ain't got your best interest at heart. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear in order to keep you coming back. That's why I offend so many people, because I tell the fucking truth. Please or offend. If you don't like it, bollocks to you. That's your karma, your ego, not mine. Not mine. Stop making new gods. We've got enough gods. Elon Musk is not there for you. Donald Trump ain't there for you. Keir Starmer certainly ain't there for you. What an evil bastard he is. Look at that. You know, he knew what happened at Stockport and whatever. You look at all the stuff coming out about that, just the same as he knew about Jimmy Savile and everything else. I don't say this lightly, but I say it because I care. And if he were to be found guilty in a common law court by 12 members of the public, I would take an awful lot of pleasure in being the Albert Pierpoint for him and many others like him. I would take a lot of pleasure because I know that in doing so, my words, deeds and actions would help to cleanse, purify this third dimensional reality from these demonic beings that have no right to be here and yet control just about everything. That's why the earth has gone through so many different changes, because they come, they rape, they torture, they pillage, they get us to do it for them, and then they reset everything so you forget it all. So you forget it all. I love this meme. I love this meme, and if more people out there looked at that meme and loved it the way I do, then we could come together as one. Not as Americans, not as British, Germans, whatever, but as earthlings. Fuck the borders. They're your masters. They keep you in. You're only allowed out if you've got a passport and whatever. And all that shit, they're there to control you and control everybody else. Wake up. Wake the fuck up. This planet really does need you to give a shit. Really does. I'm here. Because I want change. I want change for me, and I want change for all that is outside of me. Not in order that I would profit or benefit from it in a material sense. I don't want anybody to profit or benefit in a material sense. I want us all to profit and benefit by knowing, coming to an awareness of what it is to live, what it is to be, and whatever, and doing away with all the shit that separates us, controls us, divides us, etc. But too many of you love your enslavement, love those things that control you. Just posted today, I think it was today, from Doug and Stacey. He showed a video of this woman who put some Coca-Cola on a slide and then put it under a magnifying glass. And you could see all the nanotech on whatever there. Wake up, people. Wake up. If you're on Facebook, then there's a link to my group on there in the description box below. If you're on MeWe, there's a link to my group in there. My email address is below. I'm happy to connect with anybody and whatever. And I've been doing so now ever since I started this channel, more or less. Maybe a year or so after I put my email address in. And whatever. But I'm here to help. Because I've helped myself, gone through what I've gone through, shadow work, continue to do the shadow work, deal with my demons, this, that, and other. I speak as the voice of experience, and I speak as the voice of reason, and I speak as somebody who cares. And I'll continue to care for you. All I ask in return is that you care for each other. If this message resonates, share the message. Don't share me. Share the message. Wherever you find it, on YouTube, Brighteon, Rumble, Odyssey, or my main Bitchute channel, or my backup Bitchute channel, share the message. Don't share me. Just for pity's sake, people, wake the fuck up. For pity's sake, wake the fuck up. Leonard Peltier, I honour you for what you have done and what you've been through over these last 50 years. You truly are an example for all to see. You truly have walked in the footsteps of your ancestors that I hold in so much esteem and respect. Chief Joseph, then there's Per Sitting Bull, and Crazy Horse, and Chief Pontiac, and all these other individuals that fought historically for their people. You've done the same, and I honour you. And it saddens me to see your blood at powwows in the uniforms of their oppressors. Perhaps you can do something about that. Palamia, thank you. In Lakesh, in UIC and enemy, Mitako Yasin, we are all related, we are all relatives. And I'll tell you, we're all connected. Stop being so disconnected from all the other souls on the planet.